Just start. Hi, everybody. It's October the 24th, and this is our fourth Tuesday of the month, our members meeting. And it's wonderful to see you all. And I'd like to welcome especially Paul Brandis, who's just joined us as a new member. Well done. And today we have three amazing speakers, but just to start with, I think we need just to reflect on what's happening in the world and say, have a few thoughts for the suffering that's going on in the world. And I was going to invite you all just to take a minute to be silent. So could we just take 1 minute and pray for all those who are in suffering at the moment? Thank you, everybody. It feels like a long time when we wait in a minute in silence for those people who are suffering in all war zones of the world. It's a long time. So let's come back into the room and be grateful for our presence here. I really appreciate all of you. And it's very important as a club that we get to see each other. It's only twice a month. And yes, we hear each other, we see messages on WhatsApp, but it's not the same as actually being in the room together. For me, that's really important, which is why I do have a passion that we actually come on camera. I know some of you don't want to, but that's okay. But if we can, it's about seeing eyeball to eyeball and really understanding that we are here to be part of Rotary International and in our own club. And I'm very proud of being the president, the first one outside the district. It has its pluses and minuses. I've been to a couple of clubs here. Sorry, my telephone's buzzing. I've been to 2 or 3 clubs here, and I'm very proud to show you here my Paul Harris pin and my Paul Harris, if I can get that in the camera. Anyway, I have, sorry about that. And I'm going to go to an event on November the 2nd, which is at the Green Valley Rotary Club here in Las Vegas, and invite them to present this award to me so that I can actually then have a photograph and put it in the annals of this club. It's very important that we remember the 4-way test, and I'm going to invite Patty. Is it Patty here? Yes, she is. Hi there.
Hey,
So,
your Paul Harris fellow friend. Hello. Thank you, Pauline. And I'll just welcome everybody. I am the secretary of our COGI 224228. Welcome to our private meeting. We have 3 presenters today. I'm very excited. And I'm really excited that Paul Brandis got the memo. Apologize for the late notice, Paul, but I'm happy that you're on it and you were able to come in because this is our private meeting. And usually it's just protocol. We only invite members, and you're still under the proposal because there's a little delay there with the application. Nonetheless, welcome and thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy it. And again, thank you to all, and thank you, Pauline, for being so mindful for that moment of silence, because what was it, a minute, and it's definitely important to reflect on what can we do. there's something that we can do. And even if it's down to a little prayer, it's something. So thank you for taking matters into our hands, and back to you. God bless.
Thank you. And it is important that we
Thank
take
you.
moments of pause. And we see everything on the news. We don't know what's happening on the ground in the sense of being there for real. And I know we're going to discuss later on whether what kind of donation we're going to send to those places. But what I wanted to do was to just introduce what we're going to do today, and try to be clever here, and just share a couple of slides that will set us in motion, if I can work this out. Isn't it amazing? You can always do something really easily when you're not thinking. So the whole thing is that my mission is that we enrich the world through the power of authentic harmony. And we know what the mission is overall for Rotary International. It's about creating hope in the world. And we're living in a world which feels on occasion hopeless, but we must never lose hope that somewhere in the hearts of people who are fighting and killing and destroying things, they will step down and they will recognize the value of life. And that's what we're about. And this is people from the district that I met in Houston in June of 2022. And I live in Las Vegas. I come from Great Britain. I'm many thousands of miles away from my family, and I miss them terribly. So I really feel being part of this global family is an important factor for me. And life for me is what you make it. So it is about tuning into others as well as service above self. I just want to remind us that we want to know who we are. We've got 3 amazing speakers today who are going to share with us who they are, what their projects are. And the value creation grows when we tune into each other. So really listen to what they say. Find out what they're about. They've got 10 minutes each. We can ask some questions, but really want to find out how we use our power together to transform. And for me, it's all about making authentic power, authentic harmony, and authentic world. And this is what is really important. We are creating our future. So the 4-way test is this the truth? Do you want to create a new world? Is it fair to all concerned? I believe it is. Would it build goodwill and better friendships? For me, friendships is everything. And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So for all of us in Roche, we know this 4-way test, but do we live it? Do we feel it? Do we make it real in our lives? So we've got 3 amazing speakers today. We have Megan Johnson, who I had the privilege of meeting one time in LA, didn't I, Megan?
Yes. That was so fun. Yes, I was just thinking about that. I was like, I got to actually meet Pauline in person by the airport.
We have a photograph. We have a photograph together, and I'm somewhat shorter than you are, Megan. So
it's one of those things. I always say I love Zoom. I love communication, but I always say if you're ever in Los Angeles area, you always call me, because Pauline knows I show up. If I can see you face to face and give you a handshake and a hug, I always show up, because I think it's just, I feel like, I mean, I only spent a little bit of time with Pauline, but I feel like I really know her. And, it's one of those things, when you know someone in person,
yes,
you always can pick up that phone.
And thank you, Megan. And we will all meet one day. Let's set that intention to do that. And that might be in Las Vegas. It might be in Hawaii. It might be in UK. Might be in North Carolina. So next we got Shanker, who I had a wonderful conversation with recently, and we were really talking about education and getting to know each other. So I'm very privileged to that. And Aaron, who's doing some amazing work with the kids. But a lot of what we're talking about today is about education and enlightenment. So I'm really delighted to actually get into the substance of this. So I think what we'll do is we're going to hand over to Megan to begin with, and
Right.
I'm going to time you. So it is 10 minutes.
Oh, it's no problem.
Okay, off you go, Megan.
Are you gonna, can I use the screen? Are you gonna share it with me?
You can, yeah.
Bye, Rocco, I love you. I'll see you in a little bit. My son's just going to work. I'm in everybody, all of I'm at San Francisco with visiting my 3 children who are 18, 19, and 20. And it's been such a blessing to be here for 48 hours. So I'm in their spare room and with my laptop on my lap, literally.
Off you go then. You can share the screen.
Okay, so I can share.
Yes.
Share screen. Right. All right, hang on. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so here's the thing. This is a passion project for me, and this is why I'm sharing it with you guys, because you are all, even though I might not know you all personally, I think of you as all of friends, because this is members only. This HOTI is rolling out in January of 2024. I'm sorry, yeah, 2024. So it's not really out there on the public, but I respect your opinions, and I also respect everything that you guys do. And I think that there's a lot of ways that you can also be a part of HOTI from a mentorship perspective. So like I said, I have an 18, 19, and 20-year-old. Best thing I've ever done in my life are my 3 children. And the thing is that one of the things that I found working with kids in that age bracket is if they haven't had an inspirational or a somebody in their life who tells them they can do something, who tells them they can be anything, who tells them and teaches them confidence, when they get to a later stage in life, they're a little bit lost and they don't really know. And so HOTI is all about helping others together internationally, but we're specifically focused on 18 to 24-year-olds, because I think that's a really changing time. If you haven't figured out the things that you want to do, those years are very important years for people. So I've got all of the paperwork. I'm waiting for the approval. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that this isn't coming until January, but I'm waiting for the nonprofit approval here in California. But the whole idea of it is to inspire and mentor 18 to 24-year-olds. My goal is that I'm going to get, and it's going to be in Malibu. I'm going to acquire a place in Malibu, and then also I'm going to put up this is not the house it's going to be, but I'm just using it as an example. But it's going to be 25 acres. I've been watching the market. That's my past life, is real estate, so that's an easy thing. But the thing is that I'm going to build small small homes. My fiance is a developer, so he can help me with that area. Build small little like cabins, basically, on a 25-acre parcel, with one main house for the mentors and the cook and the chef and Marty, the cook and the chef and the people that are going to be helping. My goal is to be able to raise enough money so I can bring kids in from all over and be able to give them a 1-week or a 2-week experience, where they're working with professionals and amazing people like all of us, to give them hope and give them structure, and basically sometimes give them an opportunity to know that they can achieve anything they want in life. I'm very spiritual. I'm a God believer. And so that's faith for me, has helped me get through my whole life, and bad, good, and ugly. That's how I've survived. So I think that's a really big part also for people. Again, it's not a Bible thumping thing. Really what it is just making sure that they know that you're loved. I just want them to know that they're loved. I want them to have confidence, and I want them to know that they can achieve everything. And I've worked with kids. When I was Mrs. Texas, I met a lot of kids, and I would say something to them like, "You're beautiful." And they'd say to me, "No one's ever told me that." And that would just hurt my heart. So this has been in this has been on my heart for about 12 years now, but it's just, timing. Everything takes time. So one of the things, this David, I have no idea who this gentleman is with a PhD, but I loved what he said. I absolutely loved what he said. And I'm going to call him before this all rolls out, because jumping from adolescence into adulthood before becoming a full adult, one must go through emerging adulthood. And when I found that, I was like, oh my gosh, that sums up exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So Mr. David there, I'm going to find. This is just what my goals are and how I'm going to put this all together. But again, that's not important right now. What's important is I just want you guys to be aware of it. And if you have any inkling or desire to be a mentor for one of the 2-week emerging classes, obviously it's a volunteer position, but we'll put you in the house. We'll make sure that your travel, everything is taken care of. But again, I want people that I know have the same passions and the same heart as I do, which you all do, I know, because you're in this club. So that's my stuff. Any questions? Oh, you're on mute.
That's fantastic. So excellent. And so we've got plenty of time for questions. Who would like to ask?
I'll go for one. Thank you for the presentation, in such a short time. So who would be your preferred partner when you start going forth with all these, great initiatives? Who would be your, if you got to pick your best partner ever, who would that be? I know that's a tough question, but
No, I
off
know
the top of
the
your head,
answer.
who would you say?
So what are you talking about, an organization or a person?
Yeah, like of an organization
So
said, you know
I'll
what,
just
we
tell
want to
you,
partner with you.
Covenant House is a perfect feeder for me, because Covenant House, they help people who are in real, kids who have had no guidance basically, and they take them in. Covenant House is it's been around forever. It's very faith orientated. But they kind of move out. The other thing, I have a really good friend that has a huge nonprofit in Los Angeles called Living Advantage, foster systems. And I've learned a lot because I'm on her board for her nonprofit as an advisor. And kids, when they're in foster care at 18, they're just put on the street. It doesn't matter. They're just kicked out. And so her organization takes children who are 18 after they've been kicked out of foster care and help them put together things like driver's license, social security cards, the basic things that a child. I'm a single mom. I raised my children, and my parents helped me tremendously. And so whether you're a single mom or you have both moms and dads, the foster system is another one that really could use a lot of help in these areas. So Covenant House, foster care from a standpoint of an individual, like an individual that has a presence or an influence, that I'd have to think about because I haven't thought about that. But there's a million people out there like that.
Oh, I think your answer was right on target. And from what you shared, thank you for letting me jump in one more time, Pauline. And from what you shared from your answer, I'm thinking of a nice ecosystem, because these kids from the Living Advantages now may even have job opportunities to serve with HOTI. So nice answer, and congratulations.
Okay,
thank
thank you, Patty.
I have a
Marcy,
question.
Marcy,
So
you
I
had-
can't raise my hand in here. Where is? Oh, there it
Oh,
is. Now I see it.
okay. Marcy, a
Well,
question.
Yeah,
I
I was
was
going to say,
curious
let,
about that marijuana. What is
let
that
Quanta go
sign
first.
for?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm at my children's house. And so I'm sorry, this is at my children's house, and they are big advocates of medical marijuana. So that's one of the posters in their house.
Okay. So, Marcy, your hand.
Yeah, I was going to say age before beauty, so to let Quanta go first.
She has. We've done that.
I already did, Marty.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
darling.
Yeah, we've done that one.
Okay. You're all done with the
Thank-
marijuana, the weed? Okay.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Yeah. I have two drug waivers on my federal record with the CIA for drug use, and had to get 2 waivers to be allowed to enter into the military. Yeah, I was formally discharged from the Air Force as a loser and sent back home. So thank God the Navy let me come in, Megan. And the Master Chief that helped me got my second waiver approved so that I could enter the Navy. And 30 years later, here I am. So
You've done spectacular stuff.
I'm living proof that you can do dope, but you don't have to act like one. So
Oh my gosh, I love that line. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, yeah, my kids are spectacular. They're absolutely
course.
incredible people.
I'm a big advocate for medical marijuana. I just wanted to say a friend of ours suffers here badly from lupus, 86 Airborne. He lives here in North Carolina, and he's a full-on staunch Republican, iron down core. And he tells me when I go in to vote, Marty, I do not care who's running for the election. I mark all Republican at the top. It auto ballots. I don't even look at who's running. I have no idea what the issues are. I don't care. I mark Republican at the top. The only thing he spends any attention on is the back. The judges have to be voted on individually in our state. But he's very, very upset all the time because they're tremendously anti-medical marijuana here. And we, wish for his well-being that he would had better access to higher THC oils and resins and things that he really needs from the VA. But he's probably never going to move, Megan. So kudos to your kids and what they're doing. My question was about coming out to cook and do some medical-based weed food. Would that be possible at the facility?
Well, honestly, that I would have to look into from a standpoint of, again, I don't know if I would want to be the influence of that. Just because, there's positives and negatives like everything in life. So that I would say my gut intuition would say no. But having you come out and, be a chef and cook and be there, and because you again are very inspirational, that would be a really positive thing.
I'd love to.
That'd be great. Okay, let's move on to Aaron. You've got a question.
Yeah, well, I think Marty kind of stole my idea because I was going to suggest that he and I should go. We should do like a fun and engaging like home ec class or something for the kids and make it fun. I think
that was good. Well, that would be good.
We were talking about you're doing a cooking show together on YouTube, but we never got around to it. Also, my question is, what type of curriculum were you thinking for the kids while they're there? Is it just like basic life skills, or they're going to be kind of like structured classes to prepare them for, the workforce or whatever?
So my idea is to be able to sit down with these kids and figure out what they want to do, because people don't believe they can do what they want to do. People don't have confidence. So the first thing I want to do is sit down with them one-on-one with a professional person like all of us and say, hey, if you could do anything, what do you want to do? Well, you know what? And their minds are small. Most of these kids that I'm going to be working with, their minds are not really big. And they're going to say, oh, I'd love to go to college. All right, well, you know what? There's a million ways to get to college. There's a million ways to get financial aid. You know what I mean? Like giving that, that's why I want to do a camp, because it's a one-on-one thing. What is your mission? What do you want to accomplish? Well, you know what? My ultimate goal would be to be able to buy a home someday. All right, well, let's work it backwards. Let's work with your goal and let's work it backwards. So that's going to be a huge part to start out, because once we know what they want, then we can figure out how to get what they want. Because everybody that will be involved with me is very intelligent and has been business owners and done amazing things in life. So they can sit down with them and say specifically, all right, so this is what you want to do. It's like, let me take me as an example. When I was in college, right? When I went to college, I wanted to be a news anchor, right? So I went to school for journalism broadcasting, right? But I was one of those people that I was very independent, but I knew my path. I did the research. I knew my path. I knew I had to be an intern. I knew I had to get a tape. I knew I had to submit my tapes. I knew I had to get, once my tapes were submitted, I knew I had to follow up on phone calls to get that first job for ABC. And so the thing is that I want to give them that structure, so that that's a structure you learn and you can do your whole life. Whatever goal it is, whether it's small or big, give them that structure and that goal, along with then, okay, let's do some basic things. Like, dude, do you know how to run your bank account? And it's going to be online. Most likely it's online, just stuff like that, but it's going to be very personalized. And then the group stuff is, building group community. And again, it comes from when I was 17 years old, I did a youth exchange. Actually, this is really funny. Just hit me right now. It was through Rotary. Through Rotary that I won this scholarship, and it was in Minnesota. That's hilarious. I just thought of that right now. It was Rotary, and I didn't know what Rotary was. And my mom said, you're never going to win the scholarship because you don't even live in that town. I said, well, I'm going to try. And you know what? They picked me. And I went to, I did a youth exchange for 6 months in Germany. and I went to this camp. It was actually, oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about this now. It was a camp for 2 weeks with 30 kids from 30 different countries, and I was the only American. And they basically sat down with us and kind of did similar to what I want to do, and just told us, you guys, the fact that you're here, it's incredible, and you can do anything. I mean, it was just really good, inspiring, motivating people. That's a long answer to your question, but it's going to be very personalized, because the goal is to get these kids that don't believe they are somebody, and every person on this earth has a purpose. I believe that with all my heart. And it's a matter of finding that purpose and having the people that support you and love you, so you know you can do it.
Absolutely, Megan. And I totally concur with that. That's exactly the education that I'm doing with my university. So I'll talk to you about that as well, because for me, it is actually that is the student is the center of education, not the teacher.
You know what? I'm going to take that back. It was the Lions Club in Loretto, Minnesota, not Rotary, Lions Club. So I take that back. I'm just thinking through.
Yeah,
you know, I'm 53, so I'm going back now, what, 17 forever.
You're young. That's great. That's fantastic. And thank you, Megan. And I think this is going to roll very well into what Shanker is going to talk about, because we were talking, Shanker, weren't we, about education and how we inspire from who we are as opposed to what's external. So we're going to go to you now, and you have the floor for 10 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Pauline, and thank you, Megan, for your
Can you come and share, Megan?
Presentation on HOTI. And I so well connect with the theme, because it's all interconnected. It's all relating to the same thing, that people matter, children matter, youth matter, and it's all to do with empowerment and education, which is what brings me to my topic of really how businesses are successful, or how you are touched by businesses or business people, because it all boils down to one single thing, that your relationship with the person who's standing in front of you is the secret to the universal energies that is flowing through both of you. So when I think about what Megan said, that everybody has got a purpose on this planet. It's not something that I believe, it's something that I know. Because if you can focus on what is in front of you, what is behind you shall be revealed. That's the premise from which I meet people, I interact with them, and I see that there is so much potential beyond the so-called conversation. We converse, we say, how are you? And they say, I'm fine, and we go on with life, and without actually touching people profoundly. And many a time I've seen this, that life is truly, like Helen Keller says, life is a daring adventure or nothing. So we need to live our life minute by minute in an empowered way, empowering each other. And it's really the place for relationships that, when you are in relationship, I feel it is the battleground. It is the battleground for being. So what does being mean for me is the ability to language, ability to touch people in multiple ways, that you need to be so present to not the biggest guys, also to the common guy, the youth, and everybody else that you meet with. Can we have a contest? I get up in the morning saying that something great is going to happen today. And I'm able to verify that every single day, that life is truly a miracle, and life has got many folds to it that goes up and down. And I really try to choose what is the higher in the moment. I meet somebody, and my lower center, my lower brain says, oh, there's nothing great happening now. And I remember to say, there's something higher in this moment. It brings me to the topic of alchemy. Like we are all alchemists. And how is that possible to turn lead into gold? Is the opportunity to create each other from that standpoint, that we are not just machines, we are spirits moving and interacting with each other. We oftentimes forget it, because the whole broadcast and everything else that teaches us to think other than being present to the person in front. So anyway, all of these lead to, I didn't bring a presentation, but I have a passion project going on right now. We believe that business across the world is as simple as doing business across the street, which is why we are from different nations interacting today, and we have touched our lives profoundly. For example, Dr. Pauline, Marty, and Patty, and Istiak, for example, last night, I was in touch with them. And I don't say I was talking to them. I'm really in touch with everybody because I can almost feel that energy flowing, and the feeling of love is something that we take out when we actually interact from that standpoint. I do AI, and I know what words mean. I know what the keywords mean, because that's the link to many things that are unrealized if you just look at something and look at it from a very shallow point. So I like to think life is very deep and meaningful. And recently, we started what is called the Art District of Ahmedabad, where I am from, in Gujarat, India. Out of that, we happen to meet a few of the artists and a few of the innovators from the creative side. So that led me to understand that though I do business in the business of AI and applied AI, many are there who are wondering, why are we not in it? You know, the artists, the creative guys, the creative entrepreneurs. And I wanted to put them in front of the people who are so-called wealthy and who want to invest in them. So we went around and talking to some of these great hotels, the five-star lounges, and they said, you can use our place. And so we created what is called Artistry. And Artistry is a brand that we have created, which will be there in many hotels, or even in libraries, or even art galleries or museums, where we are going to create a 52-week-long program for artpreneurs to come and showcase their craft or work or anything. But at the same time, we're going to have a musician play and have the coffee machine put there. And then people who are there walking in and out, or the people staying over there, can actually meet with these people and then buy the product which is on display. That's one. Number two, they can invest in the product if they liked it. And the third is they can share it with whomsoever they want, because they thought that this is great, and they met face to face with the inventor or the innovator. And this is going like great, because our friends in these hotel lounges are saying, we like to do this because what you're going to do is you're going to increase the traffic of people coming into our hotels. And the artpreneurs are excited while we do a little bit of mentoring and telling them and empowering them that you are not lost in this world of technologypreneurs. You as artpreneurs can meet people and actually touch them even more profoundly. And then we will see how that goes. So this is the initial idea on which I'm working with my other colleagues. And we are trying to take it forward. And there is good traction. And it's all about empowering, like Megan said, and the rest of us believe in. And this is where it all gets connected. It can be local, it can be global. And I turn to all of you to have any questions or in which ways we can synergize. I'm sure it's the beginning, but it's a passion project of mine, because I believe artists really humanizes everything. Art humanizes us. Yeah.
Thank you, Shanker. That's a really unusual idea. So have we got any questions here? Who would like to ask Shanker something?
I mean, I'll go again, but I'm
Sure.
always ready to jump in. I love the presentations. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, I want to give anybody else a chance. Okay, so Shank, have you used this as a model yet? A prototype? Have you done this somewhere saying, hey, can we set up and see and see the feedback? Have you been able to do that, or are you about to do that soon?
I have done this for paintings, and there has been great response, but it wasn't in a hotel lounge. And I created that with some coffee and people coming and interacting and getting to know each other's businesses. And I just got my passion of creating entrepreneurs, and in a way that it can actually be direct in front of investors. So it's not about how normally people pitch in a hall or in ways by which it's a very business-like atmosphere. It is more friendly, it is more engaging, it is more being present to each other, so that you like the person, You understand the person's passion, and then you might want to choose to, at the most, buy that product. You know, I met this girl, and she manufactures, she actually created a vegan ice cream. It's very well packed, very attractive container. And I said, would you like to come? She was excited because I said, you know, people will taste your ice cream. They might buy your ice cream and they will get to know you. And then they might want to invest in your project. And that's how this goes. It is all about touching people profoundly. Yeah. And I have signed up.
Thank you, Patty. And I love the idea that we're, to me, it lines with what Megan said, you know, when we initiate the natural gifts of people, her natural gift to create something, then we get a real attraction coming together. And I like the idea of different types of artistry.
Yeah, the cafe is called Craft Cafe, Artistry, the Craft Cafe. And I have got 3 hotels which are signed up with me. And so we are going to set up an evening where I'll be calling all the people, all the you know, places where they are going to have this artistry, come and sign an MOU in one of the hotels. So they all get, you know, recognized for providing their resource to the artists.
That's great. And maybe when you have these live events, you can take some photographs and post them back onto the Rotary members and also friends of Rotary, because I think that would be a really amazing thing
Absolutely.
we can do everywhere. We could do it.
I'll be doing that. Yes.
Yeah, we could
Thank
do it in Las Vegas. I like that idea. I'm sure we could do it in LA as well with Megan.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And I'm going to move on swiftly to Aaron, because I think, you know, that there's a connection between all of these. We're really embracing people's natural gifts to be excited about what they do. So I know that you have a story to tell us, Aaron, as well, about your kids and aerospace. So
Well, okay. I just wanted to, you know, what I'm seeing here when we're getting through these presentations, that a lot of these things are coinciding. A lot of this is youth outreach, kind of like inspiring the youth at this point in our culture in America. We've kind of hit bedrock for a lot of these kids, as far as for them to have outlets to be inspired, to be encouraged to pursue their passions and interests. And there's just not a lot of opportunities there. I mean, a lot of teenagers are like, you know what, I'll just go live in a van, literally, and try to monetize on it by streaming on YouTube and all that. So we might be able, and, you know, with the HOTI project, I think it's brilliant. And, you know, some of our concepts are similar, but we're kind of pulling it. I feel like maybe we should kind of mix some of this stuff up and partnerships to be more
Thank you
effective.
for telling me that, because just so you guys know, you were the first people I have told.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're the first people I've told, because again, this is members only. It's family circle, and you know, yeah, it's the first time I've told people about it. You're the first ones to see that little deck.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would have had a slide deck for this, but my laptop finally died like 2 weeks ago. So I'm still I need to cover the data. I digress. My point is like, for instance, what I'm working on would coincide with what you're working on, in the sense that you could have a tech module opportunity at your camp, you know, or you could have a culinary set of modules to work with somebody like Marty. You know, or be willing to come volunteer your time and help. I feel like that's a great platform for some of these other projects to get like incorporated into. I think it's great. So
yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I'm saying, you know, this group, and I know that you all have other groups that you associate with and talk with, but all of the groups, we're so blessed to have so many great people around us who have so much experience. And, you know, you taking that experience and helping, you know, when you have time, because that's the thing too, you know, you can't volunteer your life away. People got to get paid. So, you know, but like, that's why I want to, because, you know, I'm in California and I'm going to ultimately retire in Malibu. And so
That-
I'm building my network out there already, because I had it from the beginning. But so the point is that it's collaborating to make something good and big.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. And Rotary, if you're doing something within Rotary, if you go through the right channels, your travel and per diem expenses will eventually be reimbursed. So there's some incentive there for people in our network to participate in something like a youth camp, or maybe a aerospace workshop to come and tutor or mentor or volunteer. It's, obviously they're not
I had
gonna
no
get
idea about that. I had no idea about that.
be reimbursed. Yeah, it's on the website. I believe it's under the grant section.
Yeah.
And also anybody involved would have to be a youth protection officer as well. That's like an hour course if you're going to work with kids in Rotary in any capacity. So that's all on the website. My
I'm gonna
Rotary.
go check that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So when I was a kid, I was exposed to, like, my dad got me into like remote control cars and helicopters and airplanes and model rockets and stuff like that. So at a very young age, so it really got me into like tinkering and technology and computers, and I've always been interested in it. But I feel like if I wasn't exposed to that at that age, then I never would have been inspired to pursue it in any capacity. And, I would like to, offer that opportunity, because it's kind of a niche thing. You don't really have a lot of, grades 2 to 12 or 2nd to 12 being, and obviously the public school curriculum is not the greatest. And there's not a lot of, opportunities or inspiration these days. Most of these kids just are on their phones and, are chasing this unachievable dream of becoming an internet star and monetizing on it. And that's just not realistic. What is realistic is actual trade skills, pursuing real industries and careers, so that being said, even if we inspire 2 kids out of a class of 25, I feel like that's effective, because normally they would have not been exposed to, emerging technology like that on that level where they're actually interested and inspired. The curriculum is structured to be engaging and fun depending on the age group. So obviously you would approach 5th graders differently than college or high school seniors who already kind of know what they want to do and they're about to pursue it in college. Or maybe we can catch some of the high school seniors who are indecisive on what they want to do. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? This is cool. I want to get into aerospace or machine learning or some of these emerging techs and pursue it. That's the gist of the project. And we're, partnering with, universities, obviously Rotary, and, grants from, corporate responsibility offices, at various existing aerospace companies, and scale up from there.
So
Sorry,
you got a specific project with aerospace, Aaron?
Yes. So the premise is going grades 2nd to 12 with kind of like a mobile lab and doing an elective. Maybe a couple times a month, depending on what schools sign up for it. So it would go over, hold on, I don't have a slide deck, but let's see. So the curriculum is going to go over, all right, flight lessons, simulators, rocketry. When I was in school, I was in a lot of those tech clubs as well, but they weren't very advanced. They were rudimentary. So think about, like, for instance, I was in a rocketry club, I was in a tech lab club, a computer club, etc. We want to do something that's a little more elevated than that. Something that's hands-on, structured curriculum, structured to the age group, that'll provide like work opportunities later if they're inspired by the curriculum. Like I said, if we can get 2 kids out of a small class to really go for it, then this is success.
That's great. So I want to ask something, and actually of Megan as well. When these kids are going to go through these things, this to me is entrepreneurial. It's what I call entrepreneurology. And in fact, my university could partner with you and give them a certification, because
Yes,
then they have some kind of
exactly.
award. So
Right,
we
so-
can do a certification for the kids that go out to Megan's clubs and also to yours. And we can combine it with the club. So we can discuss that, because
Oh, that would
Yes.
be amazing. I want
Yeah.
certification for the kids. I just didn't know what kind of certification I could give them, but I want something. Yeah, that would be amazing.
well,
there's
the
types of
the-
possibilities for collaboration.
yeah, so the International University of Entrepreneurology is it's going to be a non-for-profit. It's actually got 50 years history, and it's based in Hawaii, but it's a concept university. It's about experiential learning, which is what we're talking about. The experience of artistry, the experience of what Megan's talking about, what you're talking about. It's actually giving certifications to what we create ourselves for these kids. I think that would be wonderful. Has anybody else got a question for Erin?
I have one. I
Yes,
feel like, you
please.
know, when the president's speaking and all the reporters are like, me.
No, you
Okay.
too.
I was along the lines of the certification, and I don't know if I maybe didn't hear you talk about drones. I heard talk about flying, and I'm really into drones myself, and I know they're bringing them into the school system because that's the era we're in. And
Yeah.
FAA licensing, are there opportunities for that too?
Yes. Well, the advantage, if we can talk about it, Erin and Megan and Shanker I'm talking to, is that if we create certifications, those can give them credit points towards their PhD with our university, which is all about experiential learning. And that's what I think the kids really need at the moment, is experiential learning, as well as some
We can do a lot in
knowledge-based learning.
Ahmedabad. We can do
Sorry?
a lot in Ahmedabad in India, because the state I am in is actually the entrepreneur capital of India. And they
Yes.
really believe in experiential learning and actually setting up whatever they do. So I
Yes.
think there's a lot of traction, and it's also the land of leaders, right from Mahatma Gandhi.
Well, that's right, and that's what you and I spoke about was the other day, wasn't it? Is an interesting enough the history of this. Our university goes back to India, where the founder was in India back in the 90s talking about this, and it was ahead of its time. And
Right.
so, actually, enabling kids to learn is not about the teacher; it's about the student. And there's many stories that we can share about that. So has anybody else got another question for Erin about the aerospace or?
Well, I personally would just like to say I think it's spectacular. And again, your story is a great example of guidance, knowledge, what your father did and how you ended up where you're at. That's huge. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is helping those kids that don't and didn't have that.
Yes.
And because we can still save them, we can still help them, just like my kids, they've been through crazy too, but they always had somebody like me who was inspiring and driven, and that's what it's all about. And Erin, you had the same thing, and so we can relate to that. And I know that everything that I need from a mentor is here in these groups. I know that, so I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about just, again, being very transparent, like I always am. I've never done a nonprofit, and I've never wanted to do one. And I literally told my friend the other day, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to do this nonprofit thing. I just want to just do the company and make it successful, because there's
There's nothing wrong with being profitable. My goodness
No, but,
gracious,
but the
God
thing is
forbid somebody would be profitable.
Okay, so let me just, again, you guys tell me, because okay, Patricia, just so for the record, I totally know you because Miss You Graham. That is great branding. But I just want to tell you, so everybody tells me nonprofit, and I'm like, you know what? I I don't even know, because I don't want to all these. It's like, just when I applied, I had to pay all this money and I had to do all
Yeah.
this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm administratively challenged. I'm just being honest. I'm not good at that. So I'm like, why don't I just do HOTI and just have it be just a normal company, and I'll fund it forward until I get people that want to help. Do you know what I mean? Like, do it myself. That's
Well,
kind of my
Megan,
philosophy.
just think about that, teaching children how to be profitable and how to run a business and how to be successful and how to pay your bills and how not to have to panhandle and pump people and grease them and constantly
I
be
hate
asking for
that. I absolutely
donations
hate that.
and cash, and we need money and we're going to close if you don't donate. I have so many fellow board members on different foundations. They're like, will warn me, watch it joining that museum, Marty, in New York, because you are going to be thrust pumped within 4 months for a cash donation, minimum 10,000. They pump everyone at the 4-month mark. And then you got to save face because you're on a major museum in New York, Marty, on the board of directors, and you're going to need to save face. But they do this to every sucker that they bring in. And this is the biggest museum. And I could go on with this list to Raleigh, Wilmington, Miami. The panhandling and the inability to make money, to be profitable, to run a business, the inability to be successful is not a good lesson for anyone. So I applaud what you're talking about doing.
It's all
Well,
about
here's
doing
my
things
point.
differently.
That's why I haven't rolled it out. That's why I wanted to have a conversation and get your opinion. But for me personally, I might just roll it out, not nonprofit. I mean, like, have a foundation or something for legacy purposes.
Sure.
But I might just roll it out as a business, because I'll just, I work my butt off. Like, I'm driven like nobody's business.
Of
And
course.
so, like, I'll just do it on my own. And that's the other thing, is that I hate asking I don't mind asking for help, like mentors and your time. That's good for me. But I hate asking for money. I hate it. I don't want to be in that position.
We have
So
a course.
we have to get over that.
I don't know what it is with me. I'm just used to, I think it's used being just always being independent and always doing it myself. Like, that's just my personality, because then I can
Megan,
just,
like my accountant says all the time, Marty, being in business is about making money.
Yes.
That's what being in business is about. I'm
Yeah.
your CPA. You are here to make money or get out of business and go work at a church or a foundation or wherever you want to work. But it's about, that's what businesses do. So I applaud what you're saying. And I did want to add one more thing to Aaron. Aaron, for kids like our daughter Raina, who's 13 now, we have her therapeutically tested with the Department of Labor here in the United States, many other business and desires therapeutically, what the human child really would like to do in life. And then we bounce that results from the Department of Labor. Okay. And the test, which is free online. We bounce those results, and we do that repeatedly because the human child is developing their brain and their maturity. So you can't use a test from last year. And she's obviously getting ready to apply for her student loans and Scholly and all that stuff. But we bounce that data off of the human's true desires of what they really would like to do on Earth with their life against the economic outlook into the year of 2060 and 2080. Are those jobs on the top 10 list that she really would like to do in life? Are they going to be still available? Where will they be located in the United States? In which states? And what is the earning capacity of those? You'd be shocked to see several of the results from the child that, like, that job field by the year 2042 is gone, except for North Dakota. So that type of data is invaluable for a human child to make a life decision for the year 2080.
Okay, Marty, that sounded really psycho weird when you said that, a therapeutic test for workforce. But now that you explained it, put the link in there. I want to know that link.
It's got like fun questions. Like, I just took one, an inventory assessment for the second half of the game for my life. It's got like, do you like to talk at parties?
So put it in the chat so we have it, because that's like a really cool thing to incorporate into HOTI.
Okay. Now put it in the chat. Quanta's got a question. And
Yeah, go ahead.
To Quanta.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pauline. I just wanted to respond, in true reality, business is to service to humanity for the advancement of society. And if we make money the sole purpose of it, then would be in danger of risking corruption of our human character. Thank
That's
you.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
I want to touch on that. For instance, there are at least a dozen companies out there that are doing a for-profit kind of like elective for-profit, as in like getting contracts with public schools, doing something similar to what my group wants to do. But I would rather not do a for-profit. I would rather do it the Rotarian way, and where it's a nonprofit and we attract, good-hearted, like-minded people instead of just going out for a state contract with the public school district. This project is like 100% checking all the Rotary boxes.
Yeah. I think probably there are simultaneously different things to do, profit and not profit. Dr. Mike, you've got your hand up.
Yes, sorry, I'm in silhouette today. I wanted to add Lake Wales Breakfast Rotary Club did a similar program in Honduras where they provide care and homes, at the same time educate and integrate back into the communities. The second thing I want to say is that you have to sometimes partnership because you can't always do the heavy lifting. For example, if you was to integrate a program with STEM learning, the Rockefeller Association, the Carnegie Foundation, the Ford Foundation, these are organizations that focus on STEM. And finally, I want to add that I just recently completed my certification, and I am a Rotary reviewer for the scholarships that are offered at the graduate level and certification level. These are 100% paid degrees through our centers of peace that you can integrate into your programs as people start to develop at a higher level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
That's very useful to know. There's a lot of...
And the submission date is in May, and we'll be probably talking about this later on down the line.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Well, we've come up to the hour, so I want to we could talk on further, and as you can see, Megan and Shanker, that this is, I love this because I'm very passionate about educating our younger adults, our young adults. Been working with David Douglas in the
So
Ghana.
Pauline, I'm going to be in Vegas on
3000.
Wednesday.
What?
I'm going to be in Vegas on Wednesday, so I'm going to call you.
Oh, fantastic! Next Wednesday. Tomorrow.
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Megan and Pauline, I just wanted to just add that we have a program which is called the Young CEOs, and that integrates with everybody saying about for-profit and non-profit, because they've analyzed using AI, the smartest, the most successful people have three things in common. One is social capital, and it's got nothing to do with money. But when you say success, it means we need to be an all-rounder in social capital, intellectual capital, and financial capital. And when we know all three of this, then we come to something like a very forward-thinking individual, and we can bring that program to anybody who wants it.
Fantastic. So we'll talk about that as well.
I would like to know about that. I would like to know about that. If you can send it to me, I put my email in there.
Yeah. We'll collect all this stuff together, because we're talking about education, and education for me is about changing education, not the education we've had today, but actually making sure that we engage the natural energy of our planet in our, as Marty says, human children, but all our children, all our young adults, and all our older adults and our very old adults, we all have natural skills to offer. We've all got gifts that we're not using yet. So So we thank you. I want to thank our speakers. Thank you, Megan, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, Shanker and Aaron. And I think if you can give us more information into the members WhatsApp, I feel that
yes, of course. Like I said, my laptop's been down. Otherwise, I would have had a nice Slack like HOTI, but that just wasn't the case.
that's okay. Technology is always there to shift us around, and so just let's get some of this information together. I want to share more with you about my university and the certification. It's incredible stuff. It's about changing this planet. I'm very passionate about that. I did want to mention on an official basis for club, we have nominations. Batty, yes, we're going to have nominations for president for 2025-6. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, I nominated 4 people, including
Aaron and Shanker.
two, but the only 2 I've heard back from legally allowing their name onto the ballot so far would be Aaron and Shanker. So I think election day this year in America is what, November 4th, Pauline?
I don't know.
So Aaron and Shanker, if you guys would put out a 1-paragraph platform on what you would do for your Rotary year, that would be very helpful, please. Or if you want to record a video, and we're still taking other nominations.
Dr. Mike is on the line. Were you going to commit to nomination, Mike?
I wish I could. I know that we are automated. I believe in young thinking. This guy's getting old, so I will bow to the younger generation.
Okay.
So Patty, Dr. Mike is out. The only one we still have to hear from on my nominations, which does not end the nominations at all, is Ritu Chopra. And we're still open to more nominations, which would need a second.
I was going to talk to Brittany because I know she wanted to come forward last time. So,
and also, not to put you on the spot, Stormy, I'm gonna nominate Stormy. You know what? Because she's always doing so much work, but she's behind the scenes that, you know, when I start to having to think, I automatically think of the voices I hear, and everybody is just so special. But Stormy, I'm gonna nominate you.
I'd nominate Stormy.
Ready to. I don't know if you're ready to, you know, accept the nomination, but surprise.
Okay, so are there any?
Wow, I am surprised. Yeah.
Well, I think it would be wonderful. I think anybody who's brave enough to do this is amazing, but I'm not sure that
It's going to be
Realize
Pauline,
we- that was
November
going on.
7th. November 7th is election day. So
Okay, November 7th.
we have a couple of weeks. Patty's going to put out the ballot. And then don't forget, once the ballot goes out to all members, we can have a live, you know.
Well, before I put the ballot, I would like to have the official list. So
Well,
when should we do a deadline?
You won't be able to put the ballot out until election day, November 7th.
Okay, great.
So we still have nominations. Carolina may want to run for president. Megan may want to run for president.
No.
We still have nominations, can come in for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Give
And
me a
also,
second.
I was just going to remind Carolina, I know you want to know more support for what you're going, what's going on for you. Make sure you put that in the members chat. Actually ask the questions. That's where everything comes together. So just make sure we ask for what we want. And make sure you save the chat because there's lots of good stuff in the chat.
How do I save a chat? I've never done that.
There's 3 dots. Can you see those? Right at the bottom, there's these little symbols, and it says 3 dots. And if you click the dot, there's a little thing that says
save chat. I got it. Yep.
Every time Marty's voice on the WhatsApp chat, I always think about Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Your mission, should you
Which
accept
angel are you? Marty, what do you want to ask?
Does Stormy
Aaron, where
accept
do
the
you live?
nomination, by the way?
Ma'am?
Where do you live, Aaron?
Virginia.
All right.
Okay, so Marty, you've got your hand up. Does it mean you want to say something?
Yeah, I was also going to ask the club how they felt about making a donation
Oh,
to
yes.
to one of the generic funds, either through USAID or just to Rotary's disaster fund to assist on the ground
Yes.
with the Israel versus Hamas war. Very important. This is not Israel versus Palestine. The United
Exactly.
States has issued their dictate about Israel versus Hamas. Nowhere is the word Palestine mentioned, that they're trying to kill the Palestinian people.
Exactly. And there's been a
So
lot of information about that Palestine like endorses Hamas or they're part of their government. That's just a farce. That's not true at all.
yeah, we have a farm there, Stormy and I, with Robbie, and we have millions and millions of Muslim and Jewish friends. We just want peace.
You will
So,
be.
does the club want to donate $20, $50, $100, $10? We have about $2,000 in our account right now. What does the club want to do?
I would vote for $50.
We have a nomination for $50 on the floor, Madam President.
I thought we should nominate $100, don't you think? I mean, we've
Well, I
got,
was gonna go for 200. I was gonna go for 10%, but you know, that's steep, but listen.
Miss you, Graham always goes for it.
Yeah, 10%. So what were we thinking? The Rotary Disaster Relief Fund, and I know the humanitarian aid has not yet started to flow, but how soon can our people be on the ground? I know in Ukraine.
The first
Immediately.
14 trucks went in on Saturday.
Okay, that was
Our people are there in
okay.
Rotary. Yeah, we have them there. Rotary sent 2 people over there.
Okay.
So if we do to the Rotary Disaster Relief Fund, the club will get the credit and so will the district.
okay.
And that's what I was warning people about today is International Polio Day. There's 34,000 clubs registered at the international headquarters. Our 40-story tower in Chicago, the Rotary Tower. Our club is registered. I registered our club. We will show up. But if we now do this, we'll also get credit. And that's what I was warning. If you go online ever to make any kind of donation, I don't care if it's $5, make sure you log in with your password and log in, so that the club and so that you and so that our district gets credit for your donation. That's how Pauline got her Paul Howers Fellowship.
Yes.
She reached $1,000 total. She had a donation of $500 and she gave $500. So that's how she did it. She got her gold pin.
So if we do this donation into the Rotary, then it'll go straight into the disaster fund for the Middle East.
It's actually the disaster relief fund in general at Rotary.
Oh,
Yeah.
They'll probably draw on those monies.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, you know, I honestly, I feel more comfortable keeping it in Rotary than just throwing money at UNICEF or something like that. And
That's
look,
true.
I about that because I was tracking their data and response last year with Eastern Europe, and they were doing a lot of fundraising and getting money, but I wasn't really seeing it be spent directly. They were more on the peripheral. You know, I felt like it wasn't that effective. I feel like we're way more effective, and they're a giant organization with like tons of money.
Well, look, on Charity Navigator, we have a score of 100 out of 100. We have, 4 out of 4 ranking for 118 years. All of our financials for the past 3 years are published online at rotary.org. All of the directors' budgets of every expense that they spent, whether it was a hot pocket in the airport lobby to a lift, is published with all directors' expenses for 3 years of every director in Rotary's history. Nobody reports this type of data in their foundation.
Right.
Other than Rotary that I know of.
Right.
so what's the best thing to do? What's the decision?
The club would make a decision and have a vote with a second. We still don't have a second. And then what would happen is I'll take the club credit card and I'll pay it tomorrow. And then I'll send the receipt for all members to look at. And you'll notice our daily club balance goes down from about $2,000 every day, to whatever you guys tell me to do. You want to do 50, 100, or 200?
I'll second 100.
I think, can't we do 100?
I second.
All right.
There's a
Yeah,
motion
that-
on there's a
that
motion
sounds
on the floor, Madam President, for $100 with a second.
Isiak said that, seconded.
Yes, so did Dr. Mike, and I'll second
Is
it
there
as
is there
well.
any other discussion of contention against the motion?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Everybody in favor for Madam
Yeah.
President's vote?
Yes.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed, please say nay. Would anybody like to abstain and not vote today? This motion was passed not with a quorum required. So we may want to bring this up at the Board of Directors. We do not have a quorum of our membership today, so we may want to bring this up at the Board of Directors on Sunday and pass it
Okay.
through on Sunday. But it is the feeling, Madam President, that
Yeah.
the club has voted for this for $100 today.
Let's do it.
So I would have to wait for the Board of Directors on Sunday to do it.
Okay, we'll meet on Sunday.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think that's everything now. So your hand's still there, Marty, but I believe it's done. So thank you all for being here. And
Sorry
Oh,
about
thank you so much. This was really wonderful. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
well, it's good to have you back in the fold, Megan. We miss seeing you.
Yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
And if you're in Las Vegas tomorrow, send me a message and we'll get together.
I will. I will.
I had no idea you were Miss Texas because when I was showing a flyer to Adrian and she was like, "Why are you wearing a crown?" And I was like, I don't know. And that explains it. Like we were trying to figure it out. But now I was like, but now I know.
Oh, well, that's a whole story. I could tell you fun stories forever, but yeah, that's a whole story. But yeah, I was
That's
Mrs.
great.
Texas.
Well done, Megan.
It was by the grace of God I won because I was not a pageant girl. It just happened by accident. It's called being married to a military.
I don't believe anything
Congratulations.
by accident. We're all here for a purpose. So whatever's happened in our lives is meant
What
to
did
be.
you do for your entertainment section?
There's no entertainment. It's evening gown, swimsuit, and interview. My entertainment would have been
Ooh.
visiting your ear off because that's what I do.
So any other comments? Carolina, do you want to say anything? Does anybody else want to say anything? Oh, okay. Well,
I just want to say thank you, and it's been a pleasure. And I'm gonna make sure that I make time to be on these calls because you guys are wonderful, and I thank you.
well, that's what we need. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you those who are not on
Thank you,
vision.
Pauline. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
you.
Mike. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, you have a good day.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Mike. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Thank you, Desiree.